My friend Bob Elliott here used to be in the Army Air Force back in World War II, and he went through pilot training, and he soloed in the Stearman, and then he went on into the BT-13, and Bob wasn't tall enough to push the rudder pedals, and when it came time for the spin training, he wasn't able quite to get it out of the spin, so they recommended that he not continue on with pilot training, and they moved him over to the infantry units, and then he continued his career with the rest of the infantry, and he always wanted to make it on to be a fighter pilot or a bomber pilot for the Army Air Force, but he never made it that far due to the spin training. So anyways, Bob had never seen a B-25 up close, and during the war he always saw him fly overhead, and he thought that it would be really neat to see one in real life up close. So that's why we brought him down here today, so he could
Well, I hope we lived up to your expectations.
be here and
Perfect. Thank you.
and see it.
I'm Bob Elliott. I'm 96 years old.
And you served in World War II, I understand.
World War
Which
II.
branch of the service were you in, sir?
Well, I was in the Air Force. I got washed out, so I was in the infantry.
Oh, okay.
And I was in the infantry 14 months in Europe.
What time period was that, sir?
I'm sorry?
What years was that?
1943 and 44 and 45.
Wow.
The end of 43, most of 44, and then I was guarding a prison camp shortly after the war ended in Austria.
Which outfit were you in?
Company F, the 355th Infantry.
It's an honor to meet you. You have anything you remember about it that you'd like to share with us?
Well, yeah, you're getting me started.
I know. That's all right.
Yeah.
This is the reason we're
We
here,
were one of
sir.
the first ones at Camp Dachau, prison camp.
To liberate the camp.
And the ruling was when we took a town, all the residents had to turn in all their weapons and cameras. And this lady came running out with a camera and handed it to me as I was walking through the town. And I stuck it in my pocket. Well, about a week or so later, we were in Dachau. And I thought, well, I got this camera. And I looked, sure enough, they were filmed there. So I have pictures of the Dachau prison camp. And so if people say to me, it never happened, I say, okay, I'll show you it did happen.
You were there.
Yeah, I was there.
Wow.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of experiences coming out here, but your story is leaving me speechless. I have no idea how to ask you a second question after that.
Well, I now can do it without much problem. I used to would not be able to talk about it at all. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
And he asked me if I had nightmares. I used to. I don't anymore. But it's been a long time. But when I first came home, I had problems. Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad you've found peace with it. That's incredible. Folks like me, we can't possibly imagine what that must have been like.
Well, you talk to people about it, and people right there 2 miles away said it never happened. Well, you can smell it almost 2 miles away. The wind was just right. I mean, the odor was terrific. But people in Germany, a lot of them said, well, that never happened. They didn't want to admit to it.
As you've reflected over that experience, I mean, what do you think it is about humanity that we can do things like that to our fellow man?
It's hard to imagine. I have no idea why anyone would do that to people. It's just one rail car was stacked about 10 or 12 feet high of dead bodies. They were hauling them away, and there was one rail car. We opened the door, and there was dead bodies stacked 10, 12 feet high in that car. It's shocking. It just, and buried with barely covered, bones sticking out, and the odor was terrible.
With that experience that you've had all those years ago, What do you think about the current way that societies are going with their xenophobia and exclusionism?
I'm really upset. I just don't. To be honest with you, I wish I could die tomorrow because I don't want
Jesus.
to be in this world like that. I just can't understand why people cannot get along with each other. It really upsets me.
Well, us too. But I would like to say to you, from all of us who are here, that there is quite a substantial population still here who appreciate what you did for all of us, and we will do whatever we can, whatever, showing off the airplane, going to air shows, to keep that memory alive, and to remind people that the cost that was paid by the bodies you saw, the people who suffered in those camps, and by you GIs who showed up healthy and full of spunk, but had to witness that and then live with it. I can't imagine. Again, I don't know what to say.
Well, and a shame, my friend and I was talking, how close we were in combat, and yet after the war, we all vanished, didn't keep in contact. I only had one friend that I was in contact with. He lived in Detroit, but we were family, and then all of a sudden we're gone, and no contact, which is a shame, really.
Was that perhaps because you guys were anxious to put the experience behind you and start your lives as civilians?
Absolutely.
No.
Absolutely.